Okay, I always bring up the letter of the law. It's a requirement in interpreting the law. And in many my videos, I mention that I only read or tell you the law, word for word to the letter as required by the letter of the law, and I say because if I did otherwise, it would be breaking the law. Some people try to say that spirit of the law, well, in spirit of the law, the letter of the law is required so we all see, read, and say the same thing. It's in the public interest, of course. But anyways, violating the letter of the law can result in a range of penalties from civil fines to criminal charges depending on the specific law and the nature of the violation. Penalties can include monetary fines, imprisonment, or other sanctions depending on the jurisdiction of a specific violation. Examples of penalties, civil penalties, many violations of laws, such as those related to document fraud or environmental regulations, result in civil penalties, which are monetary fines. For instance, USCIS penalties for document fraud can include fines and others to cease and desist from fraudulent activities. Similarly, environmental violations can lead to substantial civil penalties, with the amount often determined by the severity of the violation and the size of the entity involved. Criminal penalties, more serious violations, especially those involving criminal intent or causing significant harm, can lead to criminal charges. These can include fines, imprisonment, or both. For example, violations of the law related to firearms or those involving bodily injury or death can result in significant prison sentences. Other sanctions, besides fines and imprisonments, other sanctions can be imposed. These can include revocation of licenses, restriction on future activities, or even seizure of assets. For example, a person who violates firearms law with prior convictions may face mandatory minimum prison sentence and be prohibited from possessing firearms. Factors determine penalties. The severity of the penalty for violating the letter of the law is often determined by several factors. Severity of the violence, the more serious violation, the greater the potential penalty. Intent of violator, whether the violation was intentional, negligent, or the result of gross negligence, can significantly impact the penalty. That's why I keep telling you, when it comes to the Constitution, the rules, the codes, stick to the letter of the law. Anybody tells you doesn't mean what it says it means is in violation of the law, the letter of the law, and there are penalties. Prior violations, a history of similar violations can lead to harsher penalties. Stricter laws involve, different laws carry different penalties, and some laws have specific provisions for repeat offenders or for violations that cause specific terms of harm. Jurisdiction, penalties can vary from between federal and state and local jurisdictions. Important for considerations, legal counsel. It's crucial to consult an attorney if you are facing potential penalties for violating the law. Compliance, staying informed about the legal requirements and activity, complying with the law in the best way to avoid penalties. Due process, individual facing penalties have the right to due process, including the right to a fair hearing and the opportunity to defend themselves. Cornell law, letter of the law, spirit of law. Of course, it goes to the privation of rights under the color of law, because they usually fall under the same thing. Usually, are deprived rights because of somebody's misinterpretation of the law. And if it's a lawyer or judge, well, I can guarantee you that's intentional. Anything other than what's written is breaking the law. All right, people, so I just wanted to let you know why I use the term the letter of the law, and why I always say you can hold me to the letter of the law, and that is I will you. Because we could literally go to jail for violating the letter of the law and interpreting the law. Hey, nothing but love for you, all right? May the Creator always rain blessings. Nothing but peace and love for you. Long life and good health, my friends. Good night.